sorry. I'm just I posted something on Instagram the other day, and it had the title "cheat," like some kind of shortcut. Okay, and people really liked it, and I posted another one, and people really liked it. So I think there's this desire, understandably so, like some kind of shortcut, some kind of easy, a way to make something difficult easy. Now, when I call these things cheats, I have to preface it by saying it's a cheat for me, as in it's something that I can apply something that I already know if I rethink about something. And I've been making a list of these various vamps, things that are like, when a chord goes back and forth, like to and from something, right? I consider it a vamp, and it tends to make a unified sound. And instead of like thinking of soloing on one particular chord and another particular, I can give you a bunch of examples, but here's the thing I posted on Instagram. And it was the vamp on a Joe Henderson tune called Punjab, and it goes like this. So let me write it out for you. Let's see if I can see if you see this. New page. All right, so it goes G major, A major, B major, and then C major with a sharp 11. I'm doing shorthand. So it's G major 7, A major 7. Those are triangles, by the way. And then C, like C major 13 to C major 7. Let me put that in the looper. And what I kind of discovered is like I had a student come in and say, how can I solo over it? The changes are moving too fast. And so what you can do is you can do this thing where instead of soloing on each chord, you zoom out. And you look at it, the sort of overarching thing. It's not the only way to play something, but often these cheats that I'm calling them, they're a way to zoom out, a way to think about them differently so that you can apply something that you already know. And so what I did was I thought, okay, what's a common thread through these sounds, or like it's kind of like if you kind of squint your eyes and look at an image, kind of looks like a Monet painting, the impressionism of something. You squint your eyes, you're like, I see a bridge or whatever. So when you squint your eyes, squint your ears, I guess, I hear a couple of different things. I hear B minor pentatonic works over this. Right? It's got a lot of color tones. So let's see, you've got the third, the fifth, the sixth, the root. No, sorry, the seventh, and the ninth. So B minor pentatonic. I'm not going to talk too much. I'm going to play here. Sorry. 1, 2, 1, 2. Not ready. 1, 2, ready, go. So let's try B minor pentatonic over most of it. It's much more fun to play over when you're not having to think about so many things. Now, there's one little caveat to that. When it goes to the B major, just change it to major. So it kind of sounds like blues, right? So if you want the analysis of why this works, the B minor pentatonic has a lot of notes that work over these chords. So there's the 3, there's the 5, there's the 6, and then the 7 and the 2. Okay, those are all nice notes, like nice, a lot of upper extensions, and it's got a lot of pretty chords, a lot of pretty notes. Anyway, and then over this A major, not exactly a lot of color tones, but it's got some good ones. You got the ninth, the fourth, which is not technically a great note to hang your hat on if it were to resolve in A. Root, 13, and that's the fifth. So if I were to write those down, it'd be 2, 4, 5. This is over A. This is the notes of B minor pentatonic over A major. The fifth, the sixth, and the root. Now when it changes to B major, it's going to be a problem, but just make it blues, like raise the third, raise it to the major third. And then over the C Lydian chord, or C major 7 sharp 11, it works really nicely because you got the sharp 11 as part of the pentatonic scale. So it's going to be the 7th, it's going to be the 9th, or the 2nd. I'll just write a second just to be consistent. And then the 3rd, the sharp 11, or sharp 4, and then the 6th. I mean, you could write them as, upper extensions to be correct, since there's a 7th involved. I'll put that's the 13, and then same with this one. It's the 13, and the 9th. So yeah, when there's a 7th involved, you probably should refer to it by the upper extension. But anyway, that's why this B minor pentatonic works over the whole thing. Now, if you got a long solo, over this vamp, on the recording they don't do that, but it's kind of a neat vamp. But there's another thing you can think of, another cheat. Maybe if you have these as your fundamentals. Let me see if there's any questions, by the way. So if you have the pentatonic scales down, and if you're able to open up your ears to know whether you're on tension resolution stuff, then these are cheats. So I just have to say that these are cheats if and only your major scales really well. Also pentatonic scales, pentatonic. And then I'm also going to get into other scales like melodic minor and harmonic minor and Hungarian minor. And then I was fortunate in that some of my early teachers in my guitar playing career, I guess, really drilled into me I have to get really good at scales. And so just learn your fingerboard, okay? So those are practicing scales is boring for a lot of people, but I'm really glad that I did that, and I still do that. I actually teach a fundamentals class right now, so if any of you want to study with me, I do a lot of fundamentals, and I love applying it to difficult things to make things sound easy, even though they may not be easy if you don't have the fundamentals down. Harmonic minor, and then Hungarian minor, which is also known as double harmonic. Sometimes people refer to the another mode of that scale as the parent scale. It's known as the double harmonic major. But anyway, let's look at another way to play this one. So there's this cadence. The kind of Mario captures the flag cadence, or I've heard some people call it the Hollywood cadence. And I like to refer to it as the first annual Montgomery Burns Award for Outstanding Achievement in the Field of Excellence cadence. So it's it's an award, right? Now, if you, squint your eyes and kind of ignore maybe one of the notes, but just maybe just the major thirds, those actually fit in a single tonality. And here's a good app that I have on my website. Some of you already know about it, but let me show you. Where is it? It's over here. So it's this thing on my website where it's like a scale picker app. So you can put in there, say it resolves to B. Okay. This is not the whole cadence of that Punjab thing. It finishes in C, but let's just talk about the first three chords. The B. So if we were to consider the root and the third of B as our one, we're going to put root and third in there. And what it does is it subtracts any scales that don't have those notes, and you can kind of see all the modes and stuff. I've got the tonal stuff, the 7-note stuff up top, and then the more synthetic scales and other scales down below. And then these two notes, according to B, that's G is the flat 6. So I'm going to put in the flat 6, or you can call it a sharp 5 if you want to. So flat 6, and then this note right there is already B. So we've already got the 1 included. And then this note right here, that's the flat 7. So I'm going to put flat 7 there. And then this note right here is the 2. So I'm going to put 2 in there. And then, so if we see, we've got quite a few tonalities. We can kind of reduce it further if you want to, like maybe put the 5th in there as B, and then maybe, how about we'll do the 5th of this one too, which is the 4th. And now we're left with one survivor. This is the 5th mode, or 5 of melodic minor. So that's B as the 5 of E. So we kind of have to do a little bit of algebra. So the 5 of E melodic minor works over this chord and this chord and this chord. So this is one of those things where if you have some muscle memory in melodic minor, then this is a cheat for you. If you don't know melodic minor very well, then learn some melodic minor stuff. And then so that's some stuff you can play over that. Now, it resolves in B, so it's technically in the key of B, okay? Even though you're drawing from the notes of E melodic minor, it resolves in B. This is one of those things where you get a lot of theory arguments on Facebook or whatever, but the truth is it's in B, okay? So it resolves in B, but it's not regular B major. It's a spicy B major. It's a different B major. It's notes. They call it a borrowed chord. So it's borrowed. These chords are borrowed from E melodic minor, but it resolves in B. Now, when after that, so you know what I remember before I said you have to kind of squint your eyes because you have to ignore a couple of notes. Like this note is not in melodic minor, but that is. Now this note, that's not. It would be technically a dominant, and then this one as well. Wouldn't be major, but you kind of have like the skeleton of the outline of that tonality, as in if you emphasize a certain group of notes, your ear will forgive that you're not playing this, instead of this, right? Tell me if you think it works, okay? So I'm gonna go from E melodic minor, and then I'm gonna switch to C Lydian, which is the 4th mode of the key of G. So really, in my brain, I'm thinking very simply on this cheat. I'm going from E minor, E melodic minor, to G major. E melodic minor, G major. Okay, simple, right? You don't have to think about much. Let's see if it works. So, I mean, there's some moments down there that I thought sound okay. If I listen back, I'll probably won't give him one more take. But so that gives you another thing to grab other than just your B minor pentatonic. So let me just write that in. So you can kind of bracket G, A, B, bracket that as coming from E melodic minor, and then going to C Lydian, which is G. Okay. So I've been compiling a list of like difficult vamps. You can't really see it, can you? If any of you in the comments, want to talk about some other difficult vamps that you've come across and you don't know how to solo over them, then just write it in the comments and I'll see if I can talk about them. There's another one. Let's see here. The thing I started with. You might have seen this in a tune, like "In Walked Bud." There's a what's the application? Someone says, "What is the application thing you are messing with?" Ask that question again. I don't really understand your question. Is that the thing on my website? Yeah, the thing on my website, noeljohnston.com. And there's a thing called free web app, So take a look at this one. I'm going to do a new page for you. This is, can you see this? Let me make sure. Oh yeah. All right. Say we do, I don't know, let's do it in C minor. And then if it goes to A flat 7, that's a flat 6 dominant. So we have a 1 minor to a flat 6 dominant. Okay, now this in the classical world is known as a German augmented 6. If like a 1 3 5 7, technically that flat 7 is spelled like a sharp 6 because it resolves this way. But anyway, if you just play the shell voicing, it's the Italian augmented 6. If it's got the 5th in there, it's the German augmented 6. If it's got the sharp 11, it's the French augmented 6. If it's got the sharp 2 instead of the 3, that's the Tristan chord from Wagner. Okay, so that's just how I've categorized all this. Now, me being a modal nerd, I try to think about the sound. Like when you squint your eyes and you hear this going back and forth, it's like you kind of hear it as a single unit, like resolution and tension in a single thought. And I tend to favor 7-note sounds. So is there a 7-note sound that works with these? Let's give it a try. Let's go back to that web app. And I'm going to go ahead and clear this. Okay, we'll put 1 minor 3rd and 5th in there. That's our 1 chord. And then according to C, A flat dominant it's got the flat 6. That dominant 7, according to C, is the sharp 4. Look at that. We got 2 half steps in a row. And then here we have the root again, right? So look at this. We have this chromatic enclosure around the 5. Sorry, I played the wrong note. So it's almost like you have this extra tension around not the root, but around the 5. So I think I mentioned that some people think of that as the parent scale. It would be the Dick Dale scale. I know someone's going to correct me. I know Dick Dale didn't write it, but it's the Miserlou scale, right? That's called double harmonic major. Maybe there's another name for it. Byzantine, maybe. I forgot. But anyway, I think of this, the C minor, as also a legitimate parent scale. It's a right. It's you've probably heard it on No. That's try to grab my invisible whammy bar that's not there. Anyway, that's let's see, that's Nika's Dream. You can see it's like kind of Harry Potter sounds. Kind of mysterious, you know. There's a minor with a sharp 4. It's a really fun sound, actually. Very, very October-ish. So if you ever come across that vamp in a tune, Thelonious Monk actually likes that sound a lot. All right, let me see if there's any interesting comments that I'm missing. Someone says it's hard for you to wrap your brain around the chromatic enclosure of it. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so let's see, just like of course that's going to be the resolution sound, and the tension sounds are going to be the half step above it and below it, right? So if you know that scale, if you've practiced that scale, then you can just kind of use your ear to let your hand guide you to the right notes, depending on whether you are in the tension versus resolution part of the passage. As you can see, I played a sharp 11, French augmented 6 chord. So kind of seen these sounds in Bach as well. Like let's see, there's a passage where he goes. Now he's probably thinking just chromatic embellishment, but if you take them seriously, you can kind of make a cool chord out of it, you know. Yeah. So this kind of mentality in my, like, has to do with my view on tonality, right? When you have like tension and resolution, when you go to the resolution, if you can still retain the memory of the tension as part of the sound, like like a comet trail, then it's it seems like a very intentional and attention holding way to play, as opposed to changing keys on every chord. Now, of course, changing keys on every chord is very common in jazz. Yes, I'm going live right now, by the way. Hi. Yeah, I'm live. See, say hi. Let's see. What other cheat can we do? There's a tune that I like to play. Round Midnight? Did someone said Round Midnight? Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff in Round Midnight for sure. So have you seen this this cadence? It goes G major to D minor. Like this. Like this. Let's see. There's a tune called Chovendo na Rosera by Jobim. I really like that tune. And let me put that in the looper here. the melody goes. And so instead of thinking like I'm in G major, now I'm in D minor, now I'm in G major, okay? It's not like, you can kind of like zoom out and think, okay, well, I'm in the key of G, right? But it's a special kind of D, a special kind of G. It's one that has a flat 7 in it. Now, it's kind of agnostic as to what type of sixth it is. It could be, or, so either one works. So I could be borrowing from, either treating this as Mixolydian, as in borrowing from the key of C, or I could be borrowing from, if it's Mixolydian flat 6, I could be borrowing from the key of, or not the key, but from the tone, from the 7-note set of C melodic minor. Melodic minor. So these are things where I'm in G, but I'm borrowing chords from a different key. So let's see what C melodic minor sounds like. So that's going to be actually, if I'm going to play that, I shouldn't play this chord. You know why? Because this voicing has a natural 6 in it. I'm going to redo that vamp, and I'm going to be a little bit more like, I'll just play a triad, actually. Let's see. Okay, here's what regular C major stuff sounds like. It's probably more likely to be in your muscle memory, so this is probably more accessible to you. Now, if you're new to the scale shapes, this might not be something that you'll sound very good at first, simply because you're going to be too conscious about what you're doing, about the, I'm in C, for example, like, you're going to be hearing like the C major resolutions as home bass, right? But in this progression, G is home bass. So the tension versus resolution kind of gets flipped. So you have to like be so familiar with the notes on the fingerboard that you can use your ear to guide your hand to the right notes. I don't know if that makes sense. So let me do another one. So there's okay, there is, let's see this one. There's loads of them. Okay. Have you ever played the tune Killer Joe? It goes. It's two dominant chords, a whole step apart. So we have B flat 7, and A flat 7. I actually don't know if that's the right key, but that's what I played. So, you know, most guitar players are familiar with how to play bluesy, and of course that works. Let me see if... So you could just play blues on each one, you know. But you might run out of ideas. Maybe you won't. But I like doing this. I like thinking of this as the 5 and this as the 4 of E flat melodic minor. So you can do that bracketing thing, like I said before. So if it's resolving in B flat, let's make B flat the 1. So I'm going to make 1, 3, 5, flat 7. So there's our dominant chords. You see how, like, let's look how many dominant flavors there are. All right, so now this chord right here, that is the flat 7, so we've already got that one. That's the flat 6, so I'm going to do the flat 6. This run right here, that's the 2. And if we had this is the 4. So look at what's left. It's the 5 of melodic minor. Again, we see this. So if I'm treating B flat as the 5 of borrowed from E flat melodic minor, if you know your melodic minor shapes, you can just shred E flat melodic minor. Here we go. So again, you have to know the shape so well that you can let your ear guide you to whether you're in the, you know, tension versus resolution stuff. Does that make sense? Okay, what else? Yeah, let me see if there's any questions that I'm missing. Some good comments, thank you. Let's see here. There are some more exotic things. Let's see. Do you know? Do you guys know this chord? Let's see. C minor 7, going to like this D triad over C. There's a tune called "It's Getting Hot in Here" by Nelly. The Nelly cadence. It's also the first part of like you know, in Green Dolphin Street. So if you bracket these two, you can put minor 7 in there. 1, 3, 5, flat 7, minor 3rd, flat 7, and then this one it goes down to the 6, the 2, and the sharp 4. 6, 2, sharp 4. Look what's left. You have the fourth mode of harmonic minor. So you can, if you know G harmonic minor very well, then you can use that muscle memory to sound good over this C Dorian sharp 4 vamp. Sorry. I have this new rig where I have to make sure I have to turn off the delay pedal to do the loop, because that's going through, it's got a kill dry setting. I don't know, too much information, right? So I can think of like, by the way, whenever you have these two major chords a half step apart, that's a tell that it exists in harmonic minor. You've probably heard this, you know, like in Spanish music. there's a E chord and F chord, half step apart. So the lower one is the fifth mode, and the higher one is the flat six. So you can shred A harmonic minor. You can make it more spicy by playing the major 7. Like that's A Hungarian minor. Anyway, back to this thing. There's your tell, right? Instead we have this E flat major chord and the C major chord over C. So we're hearing C as home bass. So it's a C minor flavor. And we're going to use our muscle memory in G harmonic minor. Yeah. All right. So does that make any sense? Cool. You like it? Good. All right. Let's do something else. There's some other cool things where you can squint your eyes and you see a pentatonic scale as like the home bass. And there's this thing that Marcus Miller did on Tutu, on the album Tutu. So Marcus Miller, I guess he produced that record, the Miles Davis record Tutu. But I heard a story that Bernard Wright showed Marcus Miller this little my app. So this app on my website, it is free. It's free. NoelJohnston.com. Yep. Just go to lessons, and then it's in like, I don't know, you'll find it. Just poke around there and you'll find it. It's this updated interactive web app. There it is. Okay. Yep. But yeah, just so you know, like I teach a fundamentals class, and you're all welcome to sign up. There's a link in the description. We work on fundamentals and like application. So we have a good time. We meet every Monday and Thursday usually. It's not a big class, so you definitely get some individual attention. So if any of you want to sign up, just let me know, or just sign up. All right, so there's what was I going to say? Oh yeah, the Bernard Wright thing. Bernard Wright, great keyboard player. He played with Snarky Puppy, on the last few of their records, but he passed away unfortunately a few years ago. But so Bernard Wright is like kind of like Dallas royalty, but he was in New York and he hung out with like a lot of those 80s fusion guys, and gave them some cool ideas. And I mean, his stuff in the 80s, he kind of reminds me of Prince. But anyway, there's this one idea that apparently he showed Marcus Miller this trick. So imagine you take this, I don't know, let's do a D minor pentatonic here. Let me write it out. So we'll take a D minor pentatonic melody, D minor pentatonic melody. And I want you to harmonize it with these like fourths. So it's like these chords that are just perfect fourths, right? So it looks like a minor 7, but with an added fourth instead of a fifth. You guys know that shape? It's a pretty cool chord. Let me write it out for you in case anyone doesn't know it. It just goes like this. Like that. Okay. So that is, imagine you're doing it over a minor pentatonic. Okay. Now it's not that special, but a lot of it does just fit D minor pentatonic. Now, what makes it really cool is you do this chromaticism where you do the side slipping, but you keep the melody there. You can either come from below or above. So if I do that, something like that, I'll be random. Let's see. One, two, three, four. I'll put a D in the bass. Now, if you were to see those chords written out in a chart, it would look extremely difficult. You know, you got this like, what is it? Like C9 sus to B minor, add 4, you know, A minor, add 4, A minor 7, 4, you know, and then, you know, it'd be like D major 6/9, D 6/9, you know. I guess if the D's in the bass, I'd call them all D something. But anyway, what is really strong about it is just this D minor pentatonic sound. So let's see what it sounds like with just me not thinking about each individual chord, but just like zooming out and thinking D minor pentatonic. It works, right? So I was doing this gig where the chords were like really looked really complicated and really intimidating on the page, and being able to recognize that it's, you know, if you can squint your eyes and like, oh, it's just kind of that, then you can get through the gig with way more fun, and you know, you can interact with the drummer, you can you know, you can think about your time and your tone as opposed to like, what scale am I in? You know, what key am I in on every chord? It's too hard to play that way. So looking for these cheats really helps. All right. Here's another one. If you want to get into like you guys want to do like, gospel stuff. I love this gospel progression. So it goes like this. I think I mentioned it in the lesson where I talked about the tune Total Praise. So it's C diminished to B flat major, and it just kind of goes back and forth between C diminished sounds and B flat major sounds. And if you bracket those two sounds, let's see, if we assume B flat is the 1, so it's basically going 2-1, 2-1, which is a negative progression according to Joseph Schillinger. It's one of the plagal things. So 2-1, 4-1, or 6-1. Those are the progressions that are considered to be softer. They're not more directly resolute. So they tend to be more common in church, right? So church cadences, you know, right. Let's see here. 1, 3, 5. That's our major. Okay. The C diminished triad, that's going to be 2, flat 6, and 4. So 2, flat 6, and 4. we have a couple of different options. We have the fifth mode of melodic minor as our one chord. 1 to minor 4. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. So someone mentioned in the comments that this sound, you can hear it both ways. You can hear it going 5-1 in a minor key, or you can hear it minor 4 to 1 in a major key. It just depends on the phrase. You know, it's one of those. I think the theorist Romanian, the Neo-Romanian theory guy, he calls it dualism. How you can hear it one way or the other. It's like this tonal perspective anomaly that's really fascinating. You can hear it either way depending on what's going on in the music. Not Messiaen. It's the Neo-Romanian theory. I think Riemannian. Right. What is this name? What is his name? Neo-Romanian theory. Tell me about Neo-Romanian theory. Let's see. So it's not Neo-Romanian theory because that's like a new version of what he said, but I'm trying to think of his full name. Anyway, well, it's taking too long. So anyway, the dualism. What's his name? Come on. Hugo Riemann, 1849 to 1919. Yes, whose ideas about harmonic relationships, particularly his concept of harmonic dualism. Hey, so I got that part right. Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of neat. You know, his theory is really interesting. I do talk about how he in my newest book, Creative Guitar Fundamentals. Like there's this chapter on triads, where at the end of that chapter talks about how if you just move one note, it could become another triad. And I kind of tried to exhaustively list a lot of those things. But anyway, so this one, if I think of it as B flat, so I'm in the key of D harmonic minor, and I'm thinking of that C diminished as a sixth mode, the sixth mode of D harmonic minor. Sorry, melodic minor. I'm sorry. So I'm going to go C diminished triad. I didn't put a seventh there. C diminished to B flat major. So it's going to kind of go back and forth between those two sounds. So C diminished to B flat. And if you know your inversions of those, you can do a lot of them. You know, there's another inversion of C diminished triad, another inversion of B flat diminished triad, another inversion of C diminished triad, another inversion of B flat major triad to C diminished, B flat major. That in my looper here. I meant to erase the other one. Sorry. C diminished, B flat, C diminished, B flat. So the idea is you're hearing one with the memory of the other. So it kind of sounds like one particular tonality. So we've got here D melodic minor, muscle memory, but you're hearing B flat as one. Sorry, did I say D? I meant E flat melodic minor. Yeah. E flat. Muscle memory of D flat melodic minor. And when I say muscle memory, I'm saying like you have to practice your melodic minor so that you don't have to think about it anymore. You got to use your ear to get to the right tension versus resolution notes. Does that make sense? So. And then once that's working, then you can kind of draw from that well that you hopefully have of the E flat melodic minor stuff. Okay, there's some good questions rolling in. Let me see if I can not miss any. Do you know the Robin Miles where you alternate the fourths with a major triad over pentatonic scale? I need to think about that one. Okay. I'm going to come back to that one. I can't think right now about that. Do you know the Robin Miles where you alternate the fourths with a major triad? Fourths with a major triad over a pentatonic scale. Oh, this thing that I did? Okay. You had a question about that? Hey, I don't know. Ask your question again, David. You want me to go back to that and talk about more about that stuff? Ask your question. I'll answer it. Okay. But as far as this melodic minor stuff, if you've got a well of ideas, not just the scales, but like, you know, a lick that you've worked out on the 1 chord or on the 2 chord or on the 3 chord or on the 4, you know. So I have these things where in my book, Modal etudes, I've worked out like, you know, kind of dug deep into each mode, and I've got like a lick for like a bunch of licks for each mode. So I can think, okay, what can I do over the 1, you know, 2 chord? I can do this thing. You know, on the 3 chord, I can do this. That's the like a major 7 sharp 5 arpeggio. Okay, on the 4th, A flat. I can play like Lydian dominant kind of stuff. You know, I've got some Lydian dominant licks, and you can even blues out on that sound too. It's really cool. Just, again, you got to use your ear to make sure you're playing the right resolution stuff. And then when on the 5th mode, I've got this cool lick. Yeah. That's one of the arpeggios from Voicing Modes and also the 4-Note Universe book. Let's see. On the 6th mode, I can play half diminished, and I can play half diminished on the 7 as well, or any altered licks, you know, Hendrix chord stuff. I love those 2 half diminished arpeggios. They sound cool, right? I think they sound like really bluesy. I also love diminished triads. I think they sound cool. So you can play C diminished triad or D diminished triad. I think that sounds cool. So again, if you're going to sit on a certain note you probably don't want to. You want to put a little more thought about making the changes, but yeah. Let's see, man, I got so many more cheats, and some of them get into like a little bit more obscure harmony. But if you have the fundamentals down, and then you can use this stuff, and you can make music. Like one of my favorite guitar players, his name is John Abercrombie. He said something in a clinic that I will never forget. He said, "If it's not easy, it doesn't sound right." So and it was really, really true. And you can make something difficult easy with two things. You can do the brute force thing and practice it practice it a lot until it becomes easy. Or you can reframe your thinking into being able to utilize something that you already know that is now easy for you because of the brute force way. So you've got to do some of the brute force thing. So in my case, I did a lot of the scales and arpeggios and the fundamentals, of which I still do. And I love to teach it. And because I love to still work on it myself. So if you want to work on your fundamentals, and then apply it to nerdy things like this, and then, reach out, join my class. So to turn something difficult into something easy, brute force it, or you can reframe it to think about it as something that you already know how to do. I already said that. I'm repeating myself. All right. So let me get back to, let's see. My question, David says, my question is there more things like that? Great for subs on minor and dominant chords, and one chord vamps gives you this inside-outside thing. Yes. I mean, there's lots of cool stuff like that. I was looking at a Gretchen Parlato progression that looks really quite intimidating when you see it on the page. Let me see if I can pull up I don't exactly remember how it goes, but the song is called Weak by Gretchen Parlato. And the time is, let's see here. Let's see if I can pull it up here. It's got like, it goes like looks like a lot of like kind of like a lot of that stuff. I don't really know the tune, but maybe you can do something similar to that, something like that, where you kind of zoom out and you're like, oh, okay, instead of thinking of playing on each chord, it kind of does this overarching idea. Yeah. So I'm if any of you have any more ideas about that stuff, that's it's cool. It's cool stuff for sure. And there's probably a lot more examples than that. Let me leave you with one other thing. There's this scale that I think is really interesting and not used very much. Someone asked a question about my gear. Okay. What type of pickup do you have in your telly? Okay. Thank you. It sounds good. Okay. This is a Lawler mini humbucker in the neck position. And it works. It sounds good, doesn't it? Anyway, this is a Lawler special. You haven't heard it today, though. I haven't used it. Anyway, maybe I'll just leave it there. There's way more like nerdy stuff. I'll do a part 2 some other time. But okay, someone let me just make sure I didn't miss any questions. Yeah, you guys have good comments. Thank you so much. Yeah, right on. My new book Creative Guitar Fundamentals is full of stuff that, of course you got to do the brute force thing on some things. You can't just like feel it from the get-go. You got to do something. I know you probably found many of your heroes that didn't work on scales or didn't work on this or that, it's what they did do that makes them good. It's not what they didn't do that makes them good, if that makes any sense. So you have to do some work. But the work that I did, that I'm glad I did a lot of scales and arpeggios, and now it's like muscle memory to me. So I can use my ear to guide me to the right sounds. And I love thinking about theoretical concepts to make difficult things easier. So this is a way, maybe little window into how I think about a lot of things. Thanks again, everybody. Reach out if you got more questions. Thanks for chiming in. Okay. Bye.